in this video is basically about, the atheist reads Bible verses. Is I'm going to read the verses in the Bible. Some verses that, there's plenty of verses in the Bible that makes it pretty clear that this God, this so-called God, views women as being inferior to men. And this is the one section, shows that a woman's vows is not really that important if her husband or her father, who owns her, doesn't want her to keep those vows. Okay, here it is. You find it in Numbers chapter 30. The laws about vows. I know I'm not pronouncing it completely properly. And Moses spake unto the heads of the tribes concerning the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. If a man vow a vow unto the Lord, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeded out of his mouth. If a woman also vow a vow unto the Lord, and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house, in her youth, and her father hears her vow, and her bond wherewith she hath bound her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her, then her vow shall stand. Every bond wherewith she hath bound her soul shall stand. But if her father disallow her in the day that he heareth not any of her vows or of her bonds wherewith she hath bound her soul shall stand, and the Lord shall forgive her, because her father disallowed her. Basically, women aren't smart enough to make their own decisions or anything, and they're impulsive and they're stupid. And if she at all had a husband, this is the next one I'm going to do, because some people may say, well, maybe she was young and everything. Well, here's the one: she's married. But again, Numbers 30 verse 5 is this one. But for 6. And if she had at all a husband when she vowed or uttered aught not out of her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, and her husband heard it and held his peace at her in the day that he heard it, then her vow shall stand, and her bonds wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. But if her husband disallow her on the day that he heard it, then he shall make her vow which she vowed, and that which she uttered with her lips, wherewith she bowed her soul, of none effect, and the Lord forgive her. But every vow of a widow and of her that is divorced, wherewith they have bowed their soul, shall stand against her. And if she vowed in her husband's house, or bound her soul by a bond of oath, and if her husband heard it and held his peace at her and disallowed her not, then her vows shall stand. Every bond wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. Basically, if she's by herself, then nobody, women don't know any better. But if she's by herself, she has no choice. It's because there's no one to correct her. But if her husband hath utterly made them void on the day he heard them, then whatsoever proceeded out of her lips concerning her vows, or concerning the bond of her soul, shall not stand. Her husband hath made them void, and the Lord shall forgive her. And every vow and every binding oath to afflict the soul, her husband may establish it, or her husband may make it void. But if her husband altogether hold his peace, blah, 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 we don't need to read the whole freaking thing. It's too much. But, you can read it if you want to. But basically, women, they are impulsive. They don't know any better. They can't help it. Their husbands or their fathers have to correct them. Like in Muslim countries, they have to walk with a male relative. Even if they're a grown woman, 25 years old, they have to walk with an 8-year-old boy. I mean, come on. But they have to do this crap. Because women aren't smart enough to take care of themselves. And men will lust over them, and men can't control their lust, and women are easy prey. And you hear that from feminists too these days too. These feminazi types, they think women are so weak. That's why they have these stupid rape laws. If a man is drunk, if both parties are drunk, the man's automatically guilty of rape if they have sex. I mean, it's basically the same nonsense. Basically, they're trying to do the same nonsense. That's why you hear a lot of people say these feminists are no better than these theists. I'm not talking about all feminists, okay? But, in general, the way a lot of these things are, if a woman has sex with a guy and changes her mind, it's rape. But if a man changes his mind, there ain't nothing he can do about it. Of course, if a woman has sex or, has oral to a guy who's unconscious and she feels guilty and regrets it, she can accuse the guy of rape. I mean, yeah, these things do happen. It's the same type of nonsense that's in this, but with feminists. They're pulling the same crap. But as you can see, the Bible is pretty clear that women, they can make all the vows they want. If a man or their husband or their father say no, then they can't keep their vows. However, if their husbands decide to give them permission, because they have to have a man's permission, then they can do it. Feel free to like, subscribe. Feel free to dislike, leave a comment, or watch my other videos. Thanks.